Girls were made to be held by men. And if they are not held, if that need is not met in a healthy way by their father, they will meet it in an unhealthy way.
What?
Hey guys, this is Sarah Young with Check by Church, where we check Christian churches, ministries, and pastors for red flags of abuse, corruption, and cult-like control to protect the sheep and stop feeding the wolves. In this video, we're going to cover 4 signs that your pastor is a wolf, because once you understand these 4 signs and how to recognize them, you'll be able to spot the wolf long before they're caught and exposed. Robert Morris exhibits all 4 of these signs, so he's going to be our example. He was the pastor of Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas, and he resigned this week after a woman named Cindy Clemishire blew the whistle and has made allegations of abuse against Morris. If you want to learn more about the details of these allegations and how the church has responded to them so far, go check out the wartburgwatch.com, where Dee Parsons has been covering the story from the very beginning and initially broke the story after Cindy reached out to her. But before Cindy publicly blew the whistle on Morris, and for 35 years, she suffered in silence, and who knows how many other Cindys are out there. Despite the wolf's manipulative tactics, however, and methods of keeping their darkness and their evil hidden from the light, I think there's a way we can spot them before victims like Cindy come to realize they've been abused and blow the whistle. There are many signs and behaviors you can look for that the wolf displays openly and shamelessly. They all tend to fall into 4 main categories, all of which Robert Morris has displayed regularly in his sermons. Well, the first one I don't think is a very big secret, and it's narcissism. Narcissism is defined in psychology as a personality disorder involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. The word narcissist isn't in the Bible because it was coined in the early 19th century, but the Bible frequently describes and condemns the behavior and practices often characterized as narcissistic by modern psychologists, including hypocrisy, insolent pride, self-idolatry, oppression, and deception. Even though narcissists make up a small percentage of the population, the pulpit and everything that comes with it, the power, control, money, and other narcissistic supply, is a magnet for narcissistic and even psychopathic people. Robert Morris, in my opinion, displays signs of narcissism, insolent pride, and self-idolatry in this clip where he talks about tithing.
This is so strong, and I'm not trying to be mean, but listen, the very fact that you would argue with God, who gave his son for you, about giving him 10%. He gave his son, and you want to argue about 10%.
So here, Morris is acting as though by arguing with him, you're actually arguing with God. And by not giving him money, you're not giving God your money. He's conflating himself with God and seems to think that he's speaking on God's behalf. This is a clear sign that Robert Morris may be very narcissistic, if this is really what he believes about himself. Okay, the second sign of the wolf is financial exploitation, which we can see in the clip we just watched on tithing, but let's look at a different one because Morris displays this so frequently in a lot of his sermons.
Amazing. So God did this. As a matter of fact, Jesus talked about it so much it probably would have upset you too. 16 out of 38 parables talk about money and possessions. So here's a good question. Was Jesus trying to get their money? Okay, before I answer that, am I trying to get your money? I mean, let's just come straight out and answer the question. Am I trying to get your money? Now, I never want to be mean, but sometimes I like to say things straightforward. I'm just going to say it straightforward. I don't need your money. I have never needed your money.
So despite what Morris claims here, I actually think he preaches on tithing and money as a means of financial exploitation. False teachings about tithing are commonly used to exploit and manipulate Christians financially, and they have been for centuries in the Christian church. And Morris does it so smoothly here by saying that most of Jesus's parables were about money. Most of Jesus's parables were not about money, And the claim that he spoke mostly or a lot about money is a common lie that wolves tell to justify their obsession with money. Most of Jesus' teachings were about other, a lot more important things. Some of his parables mention money or use money as an analogy in a parable, but that's rarely what his message is actually about. He mostly taught about faith, love, the kingdom of heaven, salvation, and the coming day of judgment. Then Morris says he doesn't care about getting money and that he's just trying to help you. And this is another common tactic of wolves when it comes to financial exploitation. They give you financial advice so you can donate more to the church. They help you so they can further exploit you. Wolves can't exploit you financially if you don't have any money. So there's all these money management courses and classes that churches offer and that ministries start in order to get you to donate more to the church. And his wealth is at least partially reliant on church donations. But I don't think it's a coincidence that a pastor who almost constantly preaches on money and tithing has a $1.7 million house and an estimated net worth of $117 million. Okay, the third sign of the wolf in sheep's clothing is emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a form of psychological manipulation that's aimed at controlling your emotions to control your behavior. Some common tactics of emotional manipulation that I've noticed in the Christian church are love bombing, guilt tripping, shaming, and even personal insults. If you want to learn more about love bombing, I've written a very detailed article on this, and I've had a long conversation with a former member of Micah Miller's church, Solid Rock at Market Common in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So check those out if you want to learn more about love bombing. This clip that we're going to show of Robert Morris that's making the rounds online for other reasons, which we'll get to in a minute, but check out this clip and see if you notice any emotional manipulation here.
I want to help you today to do that as well. I want to help you to give your life to Jesus Christ. I think there are a lot of people who believe in Jesus and who go to church, but you've never given control of your life to Him. I'm asking you to give control of your life to the Lord today. If that's you, I want to just lead you in a prayer.
So music is a powerful tool of emotional manipulation, and it's used a lot in the Christian church when pastors really want to make an emotional impact. They'll have soft, heartfelt worship music playing in the background or make the worship music really emotional. But this is often used as a means of manipulation and control. Near the end of this sermon, Robert is calling for people to raise their hands and give their life to Jesus with soft emotional music playing. In my opinion, he's opening them up to be love bombed by the church. And he starts talking about how he wants to help you come to Jesus. But he also wants to help you give control of your life to Jesus. Now, we've already seen that he sometimes conflates himself with God when talking about tithing. So does he conflate himself with Jesus when he's talking about you giving control of your life to Jesus too? He might be. And if so, this is a very strong indicator of emotional manipulation. Okay, last but not least is something that most people don't realize is a sign of the wolf, but it might be the most important one. All wolves are liars. They're pathological liars. So people tend to focus on exposing their lies, which is important. But the fourth sign that your pastor is a wolf is actually their accidental honesty. Because wolves do tell the truth, usually as a tool of manipulation, but sometimes in their honesty, they'll slip up and confess to things they don't mean to. The wolf always tells on himself, though. So listen to what Robert Morris says here very carefully. He actually tells on himself.
I looked for girls that did not have a good relationship with their father. I learned to spot that. I looked for girls that were insecure. And I don't know, now I look back on this, I can tell I did it. It wasn't like a plan that I had, but I could spot this. Girls were made to be held by men. And if they are not held, if that need is not met in a healthy way by their father, they will meet it in an unhealthy way.
Everyone is shocked by this sermon because Robert talked about his immorality and admitted to it in the sermon, but he tells a lot of half-truths and there's a lot of deception too. He withholds the most important facts about what he did, which everyone's pointing out, but he also confesses to something, and I'm not sure people are noticing it. In his attempt to sound like an open, honest, changed man, he confesses to a dishonest and half-truth version of what he did, but he also confesses something I don't think he meant to. He says, girls are made to be held by men. And I think he's being honest. I think he actually believes this, and it's insane. It's insane that he said this out loud in a sermon to hundreds of thousands of people. And I think that it is a great example of his accidental honesty. Examine Robert Morris's sermons and share any of these signs that you see, though. Test them yourself and see if you can spot some wolves. Think of the pastors who've been caught over the years and go check their sermons and their church websites for these things. We have to start using discernment and looking for these things if we want to protect ourselves and others, from wolves in sheep's clothing. Until next time, though, use discernment, examine everything, protect the sheep, and please do not feed the wolves.